Hey there, folks. This is the Rude Man here. Been gone for a little bit. Have had some health problems and some other technical difficulties going on around me. But what I'm doing today is I'm doing my top 20 metal albums. Now, what I look for in what I believe is a great metal album, or any album in particular, is the kind of album when you first play it, you want to listen to the entire album. The entire album has every good song on it. It's not an album you buy because you like one or two songs. I do have lots of those, and that's why they're not on this list. So these are albums I just, anytime I start listening to them, I have to listen to the entire album. So number 20, marking down, is Exodus Bonded in Blood. This is their first album, and really was just a schooling of how to do thrash metal. They've had other great albums after that, but I think this is still their best album overall. Number 19 is Dream Theater, Images and Words. It had a couple of good songs. Of course, everybody knows, a couple of songs they hear on that. But if you listen to the entire album, it tells a whole entire story through the entire album. It's a great album. Number 18 is Queensryche, Operation Mindcrime. This came out in the 80s. I'm an old fart, so I know a lot of these musics. And this was one of the great metal operas, if you want to call it that. Again, you want to listen to it straight through the whole thing and listen to the entire story. Number 17 is Rainbow Rising. This is back in the 70s when Ronnie James Dio sang with the band. Again, every single song is just a masterpiece of that album. Number 16 is a relatively new band, Ghost, and their other album that came out about a year ago called Melanoma. Great songs on it, and again, tells a story. Their newest one is talking about the Black Death, and the entire thing goes through the entire realm of Black Death. Number 15 is Lamb of God, Strum and Dirge. They've had a couple of great albums, I think, but like I said, Strum and Dirge, almost every single song is just a metal thrash masterpiece. Number 14 is Motorhead, Ace of Spades. Now this was a toss-up between that album and Overkill. Overkill is a great album. I think what the problem is just a production value than more anything else. If they ever really fully remastered Overkill, it would be a fantastic album. When I first heard that with earphones on, it felt like my brain was a punching bag for the drums. Number 13 is Dio, Holy Diver. This was his first solo album. He had a couple of great ones afterwards, but this one, every song was just a masterpiece. Number 12 is Disturbed, their first album called The Sickness. Again, I was exposed to these guys during the Ozfest, and their first album was just pure, showing the pain and what David Drain was feeling, but kind of in a twisted idea. And every song deals with that kind of stress. Number 11 is Opeth. They are a Swedish, quote-unquote, death metal band. Their album is called Window Pane. The album covers basically everything. It has jazz in it, it has acoustics, it has thrash, it has growling. It basically has everything that any metalhead loves. Number 10 is Deep Purple, Machine Head. Again, just a classic metal, if you want to call it even a rock album, but every song is just fantastic on that album. Number 9 is Slipknot and their debut album. This was also another toss-up between that and All Hope Is Gone. I just love the first Slipknot album because of just the raw energy of that album. All Hope Is Gone, again, has a lot of that energy in it, but also does a lot of slower songs, and there's a lot of pain on that album. Number 8 is Anthrax, their classic album called Among the Living. It's one of their polished albums. Every song is just a great thrash type of song to it. One of their better ones later on was called Better of Two Evils, which is kind of a live in the studio album with their newer singer, and it's, again, a great album. Number 7 is Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. This can go either way for metal or rock and roll. Basically, Guns N' Roses saved rock and roll when that album came out, and I love that entire album. I still listen to it all the time. The problem is, 2 or 3 of your songs would just killed by the radio. And now I got sick and tired of for a while because I didn't want to hear Paradise City for the 400th time. Number 6 was Pantera, Ugly Display of Power. You can almost pick any Pantera album and it's a classic, but this second one was their venture after they kind of got the Cowboys from Hell underneath their feet, and it's just a fantastic album from start to finish. Number 5 is Iron Maiden, Peace of Mind. Now, everybody has their favorite Iron Maiden album. Mine personally is Peace of Mind. I think every song blends each other's, and it's got some great hooks to it. Other people love, Number of the Beast or things like that. Usually, their live albums are very good too, but I don't count live albums too much in these lists. Number 4 is Slayer, Seasons of the Abyss. Again, you can just toss up between that and Rain and Blood. But I like Seasons of the Abyss because I think it's more musically, better musically made than Rain and Blood. Number 3 is Judas Priest, British Steel. Judas Priest had a couple of good albums before this, but this basically got them into that groove of what they want to play as far as metal goes. A couple of albums before that, they kind of gestured in and out of different venues. But this album is just a classic, and it's been redone over and over again. Number 2, Black Sabbath, their debut album of Black Sabbath. It's amazing enough that this album was recorded in less than a couple of days and put out into the public. It's still a classic album. When they do include Nativity in Black, and it's even a better album. But every song is just fantastic. Now, that's another toss-up between that and Heaven and Hell, where Dio sang on that album. Again, a very great album. I love that entire album from start to finish. Before I get to my number 1, some shout-outs of some other albums I either like and throw into the list every now and then. One is Overkill, their Ironbound album. It came out about the same time as Metallica's Death Magnetic album, and Metallica was saying, "Oh, we got a really heavy album," and Overkill said, "Here, hold my beer. I'll show you how to do a hard album." That is a fantastic album. A new band that's only come out in the last couple of years is Ginger. They're from Russia. The singer Tatiana can go everywhere from a growl to a beautiful singing voice. You definitely need to check that band out. Another one is Rammstein. I know a lot of people don't like Rammstein, but one of my albums by them is, I'm going to try saying this name, is Shangshock, which has Do House and a couple other songs on it. They just put a new one out, and the first 3 songs are just fantastic. Another one that a lot of people probably don't know is a group called Hell Within. They're a thrash band from Boston that's had changed hands a couple of times, but their first album is just a pure instruction on how to do a thrash album. So my number 1 metal album of all time is Metallica, Master of Puppets. I think, again, this is just a tutorial on how to do a metal thrash album. They've had other great albums since then. I usually only include one group for each thing. I don't want to do multiple albums for the same group in a list. But Metallica had that album just opened my eyes to everything. Bass playing, storytelling, production. The album is just classic and almost perfect. Well, that's my list. I know it's probably different from some other people. But I'm going to have some other ones. I'm going to have a rock list and alternative list. And we'll see if it matches anybody else's taste. Till then, this is the Rude Man. I'll see you guys a lot later.